Do you want to introduce yourself and who you are? Or is that too formal for you to start?
I'm more of a touchy-feely. I don't like formality.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason I came to Lombok,
Right.
was to get away from that formality. So for me to introduce myself is too cheesy. Everything that I'm doing here is about having an energy that's attracting people with the same values, the same philosophy in life. How we connect with other people, how we connect with the community. It's a massive thing here. The community is so strong here. You don't actually feel it until you're in it. When you're immersed in it, then it becomes something that you want to nurture, you want to grow, you want to help. This is why we created Lombok Aid and so much other stuff that we've done here along the way. It makes you feel good. I don't want to be this cheesy guy that's selling real estate. I'm a builder. I'm passionate about what I do. I love seeing people happy, that they're relaxed in, and they can just be natural. They can get out of their matrix. They can get out of their system that they've been programmed to do. Like we come from all over the world, and we're already programmed into how we, from our birth to our working life, definitely school before that, because that's a whole program in itself. And they kind of manipulate it into what they want in the society. When I found this place, it was like stepping out of that. It was actually breaking out of that matrix. It was something that felt free. Like going back in time, like going back to my childhood where I grew up. I grew up on a country coastal town, and it was raw, it was free. My parents didn't care where I was, they didn't search for me. This place is like that. There's no guns, it's safe to walk down the road at night, there's no organised crime. Awesome place to live. Where I want to bring my kids up, I've got... Cut! In Australia, I had in a system we were programmed to be in. We had to conform to all this. So we had restrictions on what we could build. We had restrictions on how we do it, the systems that they have in place for that. Coming here, it was like an open slather. Everyone can come here and they can just go, they've got a dream and they go, okay, wow, I can just do what I want. Seeing so many construction done inadequately, and it ends up being unsafe. You know, we just had these recent floods and winds where roofs are blown off, and earthquakes in the past where the construction hasn't been done properly. So here now, I've got this set of skills that I've learnt in my life that I can actually make a difference here and do something that's also rewarding for me, but actually showing people in different ways about how they can do things better. So it becomes part of giving something back to the community again. Also looking at developing and moulding what we can do in our future here. So,
when building as a master builder in Lombok, what do you find the most challenging?
the hardest thing about doing construction properly here is finding the right trades. Electrical is it's the most crucial thing in a construction, the most unsafe thing in a building. It's something that they don't do really well here. Probably 80% of the construction here now still is not grounded properly. That's something that we really need to look at working on here, is actually having some sort of system or some sort of education like we have in Australia, where they're actually teaching the trades how to do stuff properly. This is how they've been brought up here though, because there's been no system for it. So you think of an island that's like Indonesia, there's all these islands all over the place, 2,000 plus languages in Indonesia. So how they learn how to do things is different. They've taught from the father, the mother, the uncles, the aunties, how to cook, how to eat, how to build something, how to put a roof on. There's no standard that they have to follow. Mm-hmm. They just do something that they know in their head, or they think in their head, mm-hmm. This is not going to fall down, it's not going to blow off if we build it like this. But because they don't understand and they don't think about how to regulate that or how to prepare for the worst, because they're living day by day. They're not actually thinking for tomorrow. It has to be done in a way that they don't take it, that you're giving them the feeling that they're not smart enough to learn it, which a lot of Westerners don't get right here. This is, you got to do it, you got to follow this. The reason why they don't follow what we try and teach them is because they don't want to ever say no. They don't want to ever have the feeling that they're inferior. They look at Westerners that, you guys are successful, you got money, you come here, and they don't want to look silly in front of us. So if you've got a way of explaining it to them where it's bringing them in, you're helping them, then you watch the result. So it all became about showing them that I respect them first, and then you can get them to learn and be better. And then they appreciate you, then they do anything for you. I've got the best team, I've got the best staff, and it's like having that understanding. And I guess this is something that I've learned from this culture, from my wife and from my kids here and from my kids back in Australia and from my parents. Like my dad was everything. He was a builder. He gave me an apprenticeship, taught me how to do everything, like tile, plumbing. I don't like electrical because I don't like getting. I'm so thankful that I got to learn all those skills from him. Being able to do something here really special, he would be like really, really proud. And my wife's just calling me now. Let me answer. Hang on. Hello. How you going? Welcome to our interview. Yeah.
We need more sales.
More sales.
Do your work, baby. Do your magic.
Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. First one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're behind. It's Indonesia. It's always behind.
Yeah.
We're not behind stupidly, running a pretty tight program. We're going to be finished by the end of the year. The structure's going to be done by August. I'm pumping. They've already started working nighttime. Once we've got the structure up and then we can start and close it in, then we're going to go 24 hours. So that'll really speed things up at the end. Like getting out of the ground's obviously always the hard thing and the challenging thing, especially for us and what we did, because it's groundbreaking for Lombok, because nobody's done a single concrete pour. We did 785 cubic metres in one go for the basement, the car park. So that was pretty big logistically nightmare that came that close to failing, but we managed to keep the whole pour going and never had a cold joint, and the slab doesn't leak and we're below the water table. So that's a milestone with that. Like that set the foundation for the whole development. Yeah, that was when I knew that we couldn't fail. When we pulled that off, everything else is going to be easier. Like that was the biggest thing. It's like, for me, it was probably the biggest thing that I've done in construction in my life. There was 280 tonne of steel that went in.
That's the floor.
Just the floor. It's not going anywhere.
No.
That is not going anywhere. Everything's been designed and planned to optimise the space that we've got, because we don't have. It's not like we've got a couple of hectares of land. We're in the middle of town. So utilising that space to the maximum, the design sort of worked around that, and the column spacing to the size of the rooms, and we did the whole design for it. The whole atrium concept is the thing that's so exciting for me. Like, I don't know if we skipped over from talking about the design. Like, that's something I'm super excited to be creating. It's going to be something that's really unique. From where I've been throughout the world, there's no hotel apartment complex that's got the architecture that we've got in it. It's not massively huge, even though it looks huge. We're still only like 85 apartments. It's not a massive complex. But what we're fitting into it, and the architecture and the design that we've got into it, it's got really cool stuff. Having the inverted opening, closing roof, the rain's falling into a cauldron, and like this rainforest restaurant in the middle of it. It's a concept that we're going to keep going for Atrium 2, 3, 4, 5. And I know that it's having the right connection with the people and doing the way that we operate, not just the construction, but later on into the management side of things, about bringing the team together. Like, you're now part of the team. These guys, amazing guys doing this photography, these guys are part of the team. I've got my son here, Riley, who's meant to be doing schoolwork, but he's part of the team. So bringing that connection of everyone in, and for me personally, having people trust me, because I'm the one with the dream and the vision that's brought people into this early. There's an element of, it's all about trust. So having that, it's a massive responsibility for me, so I cannot fail. And it's going to be absolutely incredible. Well, it was only 4 years ago that I didn't know really what atrium meant. Like, I knew atriums, I didn't know actually what the word meant. So an atrium is a space that open to the elements. It's about plant life, because plants grow abundant in the atrium sense. They're protected from the elements from outside. So everything grows inside the atrium. You can have them enclosed or open. Here for us, the atrium, we wanted to have it open to let natural ventilation through because of the humidity here, and I wanted to create a space that naturally breathes. In the rainy season, we need to be able to close that. So then we had the idea to put an opening and closing roof on it. So then when we get the rain and the storms, it closes, but it's still got an airspace above it. This is the technical stuff that we still haven't discussed with anyone in the design. Even when it's closed, we don't want it to be still humid in there. So we've got these air spaces of 1 metre, all like on both ends, so we can get the airflow coming through. Even when it's closed, the air still escapes through the top. Has to be. If we close it and lock it in, it's going to be like a steamer. So we still need to have that airflow. As soon as the rain stops and the sensors dry, we'll open it. Probably a manual open, but it'll be automatic closing. So as soon as we get a couple of drops of rain, it's going to close, and pretty quickly, because we've got a restaurant below it. So if we get a heavy storm coming through, it needs to close pretty quickly. It's concertinaed, so it's going to not take so long to close, hopefully. You know, pretty exciting.
What was here before?
So Pipe Dream was before. It was we're sitting now. This was actually the reception to our hotel. It was an existing COS. They call it a COS here. It's like accommodation for locals. So there was 13 rooms on this site. But obviously I wanted to do something a bit nicer than that. So I had engaged an architect here who ended up putting a building crew on here, because I was still back and forwards from Australia, building this rooms where I could have my staff come over and stay. It wasn't really made as a business. So my company that I created was for water sports. I set the company up, and then I looked at a boat, and I actually sort of sold out from underneath me. So I thought that was a sign to just slow down and see what was going on. You know, I had a few land deals going through, and then I started to understand the complexities in that. So I slowed everything down, and but still built the hotel. 8 rooms, we had a gym, and it was only small, but it was something that we just wanted. I wanted to put my staff in and friends to come over and say, go on a surfing trip and stuff. So it wasn't really made as a business. But one of my mates said, oh man, you can make some money out of this as a hotel. Like, you can put it on Agoda. And so we did it. This is the first Western business on the main road. But the second, it had coffee houses on the corner. It was the first one. This was there was Mimpy Manus right up the other end. We were like pioneered basically on this road. What happened really quickly was we did 2 simple things. We put ACs in the rooms, and we had hot water.
What year was this?
That was 2011. This is the first boutique hotel that had hot water and AC. There was the Novotel. It was this first smaller business that did it, and we were like 90% occupied. It was like, this is actually the money that I spent on buying the land, doing the building, putting everything, all the furniture, everything in. 18 months I made that back. So that was how.
Oh, wow.
That was when it was cheaper to build, and you know, room rates were. We still got good room rates even back then. We actually stuffed it up because we put it on Agoda. They charge 18%, so we put 18% on top of our room price. But then they put it on top as well, so we had 18% more than what we first thought we start. When we launched, it was like the first month we didn't realise it, but we were fully booked, and then people were booking in the months in advance. And we're going, we'll just leave it. We'll just leave it.
Yeah.
Then we already had Pipe Dream, the villas. We had a design there to do 24 villas. We went through the earthquakes in 2018. That was a hard time. We got through that, and then I was looking at what we were doing. Like, we still had the plan to finish it. We built 6 villas and the clubhouse and everything. You know, we were still going to proceed. And then like 2019, it was like pandemic, no choice, just sitting here, not doing anything. I started cycling. I gave up alcohol for 2 years. I had all this lifestyle changing. So I'm just sitting there going, I need to do something. Mm-hmm. So I just started designing. I just started looking at what I could create. I didn't want to, like, it was hard financially because we put everything into what we were doing here. It was really the toughest time in my life financially. I had a new family here. I couldn't just pull out. I had to stay here. I was not like I'm stuck, but I had to make decisions to stay here. I had family back in Australia, elderly parents. Unfortunately, my dad got sick during the pandemic and I couldn't get back. And that was a really, really hard decision because not being able to be there, him, was a really tough time. Decision also to stay here with my family too. If I took my family from here and then took them back to Australia, felt that I would have lost everything that I put into here. I had to stay here. I had to keep doing what I'm doing. And I know that my dad was so proud of me doing that for my family. I think nearly everyone who comes here, who came here 2020, 2018, has been burnt if they bought something here. In some form, there's always been something that wasn't clear, didn't get the right information. That's been the challenging thing here, which is probably, well, it has definitely slowed investment down here because Indonesia became a country that's higher risk to invest in property-wise. Indonesia is a country that was invaded for 60 years or something. So, and when they finally got their independence, one of the things that they've done really well is like, we're not going to let that happen again. We're not going to let anyone take over. And that's a good thing for them. It's actually smart. When you understand the system and understand how it works, because if you don't have the right information, you can lose everything. Doing due diligence is something that everybody needs to do here really well. It takes time. You've got to understand, or you've got to meet the right people. For me especially, I really want to help people. I also want to protect intellectually that I've learnt along the way to have the capital gain for myself for that, because after 15 years being here and being through everything what we've been through, there is definitely a reward that I'm searching for at the end of that. And it's not just financially though. It's about the connection with everyone that I've got here. And the cool thing is doing a project like the Atrium and having so many people with different backgrounds and different experiences, I'm getting this connection that's like, this is amazing. We're creating the community in there. That's part of the thing that makes me feel I'm doing something that's benefiting a lot of, not just them for what they're bringing in, but it's also for staff that are involved in it, like my construction crew, down to, I'm starting to get messages now from people that worked for me 15 years ago wanting a job again, because they see what I'm building and they want to be part of it. So it's like, yeah, when we're up and running, you definitely got a job. Like, I want to be able to support people that live in the, like, even young people that get a basic salary, can support their family in the village. Like, it's that money can go a long way for them. And giving back to the community is something that really important for me and empowering for me as well. All of our staff have been good. They've all got different experiences, different things, but, and some of them weren't so honest and others were, I trust them with my life. Give them all a chance. Like, I'd probably employ them all again. Same for everyone that worked for me. Like, we've had, knowing what I know now and going back and doing it again, it's a lot easier. Even easier this time for me is that I'm going to have the right people working for me that are actually managing and running those businesses, because I'm not going to be involved in the daily operations. Yeah. I'm creating the buildings, the architecture, putting the systems in place, got the people to put all the systems in place, and then having the right people that are working for us doing, from restaurants to cafes, boutiques, medical centres, like all the stuff, maintenance of the building, how we put all that together. So, there's going to be probably a couple of hundred staff that we're going to have working in here, and it's a lot of personalities. It's a lot of personalities. It's a lot of things to manage with it, but having the right team in place, it's going to be an amazing thing. We're going to create such an awesome community within it, not just within the owners of it, but within the staff as well. Like, even when we had our businesses here, like we'd take them whitewater rafting, we'd have all different stuff that we're doing with them. We'd take them to the animal park and all that sort of stuff with our staff outings. So we had really, really good connection with them. And Eddie, my wife, and she's also a partner in the business. She's amazing at that. Like, she's got this connection with people and with the staff, and so she's one that really has taught me so much about energy, life, the community, and how it works here in Indonesia, and how the vibration of life works. And it's a really cool ride now to understand how that works and to be able to attract that towards. Pretty cool. So having the experience that we've got from running Hammerhead and Pipe Dream, we know our nightly rates, setting a nightly rate and then seeing what your occupancy rates are. Like I mentioned before, that with a Goda with the extra 18%, that was a classic example about how we find the balance between nightly rate and occupancy. So when you've got something that's unique and different, people get something extra in there where they don't feel that they're having to pay over the top for, then you will have a really high occupancy rate. So it's creating value, but it's also more of the experience. It's actually the experience, because people come on holidays and they want to have the experience. So if they've got something that they see as a good value and they're getting a big experience and it's something that they're going to go home and talk about to their friends, that's when you know that you can charge a little bit extra for it and you'll still keep your occupancy rates up there. So the figures that we've come to in our giving our ROI is a rate that's probably undervalued in actual fact. I know it's undervalued, and I've done that on purpose. So when we actually are operating, then all of our investors are going to get more than what they expected.
Under promise, over deliver.
I don't ever over promise, because I don't want to have that energy later on or the time to explain something that's not what I said that it's going to be. So I would rather undervalue it, unless we're talking about my experience and my attention to detail.
Yes.
Because then I will sell that exactly how it is. And if someone's not happy or if there's something's not, I just fix it. It's easy for me. It's not about money. It's about having people that are having the same experience that I'm feeling that I'm going to give them, and then it just evolves along the way. So it's easy, really.
What would you call the design? And what sort of materials are going to use, and what's going to make it the Atrium, apart from the garden and the airflow and all the features you're going to have to save on power and water, and what feel are you looking for when someone walks in?
Okay, so the architecture, it's actually like a biophilia architecture. So it's a Mediterranean theme, but I'm not going to push too hard on the being very Mediterranean. I want to have a little bit of Lombok architecture in it as well. So I want a lot of natural products in it. We've got a lot of timber. We're going to have some, natural furnishings. The pots and things are using local companies to do things to be part of the architecture that we put into it. The design I want to have, even though we've got a concrete structure, which we have to do for the rigidity and the strength of it, apart from that, everything that I'm putting into it is green and environmentally friendly. Like I've got plants, so the part of the biophilia design is having a lot of plants that connect with human emotions. So when we've got in an environment that there's a lot of plants, we feel, you hear birds chirping and things, you feel a lot more at peace and you feel calmer. That's the environment that I want to create for people that not only living in here, but holidaying and staying in here as well. So the airflow and all the rest of that goes with it. Running water is really important because it gives you a meditating kind of tranquility that I get. So that's part of the design that I want to have. The materials we're using, again, we need to use a lot of concrete and steel. It's funny that we're talking about steel because we're looking at a composite steel now. It's actually a fibre steel. So we might be incorporating that in the next levels for the concrete slabs. So they come in like 100-metre rolls of reinforcement. It's very interesting that it just got put across my desk yesterday, and it looks like that we're going to implement that into it. So it's lighter, it's stronger, it doesn't rust. I'm going to China next week to look at different applications and different technology that we can bring into it as well. Like China's leading the world in technology and products that they have to offer. So I'm really looking at the tech and moving into the final stages of what we're doing, and to bring that into the building again to make it user friendly for people, to entry systems and like how we're with the intercoms and things like that. So it's like the communication, how we connect receptions to the rooms and things like that. So there's so much tech that's involved in that now. So I want to have the latest stuff that we're putting into it. That's a very good question. So we have a set of rules in the contracts that everyone needs to comply to. So whether they're living in the apartment themselves or whether the person next door is having our management company manage it for them, the same rules apply. We want to make it user friendly for everybody. So it doesn't matter whether you're living in the apartment, there's guests coming and going next door. You're not going to hear them because the walls are soundproof. You're not going to know who's out there. You've got your own balcony. People next door can't put their towel over the handrail. There's those rules in place, so you won't know who's living next door unless they're your neighbour and you have a beer with them over the balcony. So that's how we're managing that. The thing also with having the mixed up between residents and guests is that, again, with the set of rules that we've got, so I wanted to make it flexible for people to be able to stay there and then have it as a business when they want to go back home or they want to go on holidays. So in able to do that, I had to mix it up. If I kept it separately, so we talked to some management companies at the beginning and they had residents on one level and guests on the other. And it kind of made sense, but then it restricted us to the sale because not everybody, so far, you asked about the ratio, it's probably only 5% of the buyers, not even that, probably only 2% of the buyers, want to keep it for themselves and not put it in the rental pool. Actually, there's only one apartment and the guy's bought two. He wants to live in one and rent the other one out. Okay. So there's only one guy that wants to live in it. That made me aware at the beginning that the probability that would be that everyone wants to have it as a business because of the way that we can structure it too, that make it easier for foreigners to own it without having to set companies up and all the rest of that, unless they want to do something else. That worked for us, especially in the beginning, but now I'm seeing a switch in it where there's more people coming here setting companies up because they actually want to make a lifestyle here. They want to move here and they want to have another business doing something else. So they're setting a company up. They put the apartment in the company. They've got the same terms on their PMA company as we have as far as ownership goes. So it doesn't really matter either way whether they take it under a leasehold or whether they put it in a PMA. There's a bit of a difference in tax payment, but at the end of the day, it's not much compared to what the development is and the capital gain and the ROI that they make on it. So we've been experiencing around about 20% capital gain. For foreigners to buy land or to own land in Indonesia, it comes with a set of rules for what we were talking about before. So we've come up with two options. So one is they can buy it under a leasehold agreement, which gives them it's really strong rights. I know a lot of foreigners started to think of lease agreement. There's a time frame for that, but what we've done is the term of the lease follows our PMA company. So as a foreigner, the only other way you can purchase land or the apartment is to create a PMA company, which is a foreign-owned company, and you can have the land transferred into what's called HGB title, and then you own that as a foreigner, but that's still for a term. So here it's changes from island to island. Here it's 80 years. So our leasehold agreements line up with our company title. So after the 80 years, we can take it out of the company and then put it back in and then start again for 80 years. We don't know what the regulation is going to be there at that time, but it's definitely renewable again. There's ways you can do that to be renewable. There's two extensions along the way. One's 30, then 20, then 30. So they get renewed as a tax paid on it. So we all do that at the same time. If you buy it under a PMA company, it's the same thing. So you still got to do that, go through that process. So it's very safe, it's secure. Everything that we've done in our documentation, in our ownership, we've done it. So I'm not going to have a problem because I don't want to have a problem later on. We've had 30 different lawyers do due diligence on us and we've passed every time. So there's nothing that we need to add to that. It's a very safe and secure investment. Lombok's most famous for its beaches. Like its beaches attract surfers, they attract people that want to go and walk along a deserted beach. That's probably the main attraction here. I guess like the culture, so people experiencing, the people here, especially in South Lombok, they're attracted to tourists, and it's not just a financial thing, it's about them actually wanting to meet foreigners. Like the kids will run up to you and they'll talk to you and that experience for a lot of people is like you get the bracelet sellers come up, and so a lot of foreigners love that interaction with them. Waterfalls are another big attraction here. People that love bushwalking and going through the jungle and stuff. It's a little bit further to get away from where we are down here, but from Mataram it's only like half an hour to probably 20 waterfalls there. So a lot of tours you can go on. The different areas is like the beaches again, Pink Beach. You've got this amazing beach that's pink. You've got a lot of diving, surfing's awesome waves here. Fishing also, which is sort of exploited at the moment because it's been something that I've grown up with all my life and I'm super passionate about it and I love the ocean. So part of what we're doing with the Atrium is getting a boat built that's going to be used for our community that are in there. So there's going to be a lot of sightseeing on that, a lot of island skipping and stuff. So that's going to be something that we can give back also to people that come in and invest with us. Massive volcano that's awesome. To the scenery around that is incredible. Like I've climbed it myself. It's one of the top experiences that I've done in my life. It's up on my right hand for things that I've done in my life. There's paragliding now. There's kite surfing. A mate of mine who's to build a cable ski park in there. Mandalika have also got, this year they're building a marina. I've got friends with land that they're negotiating with, so I'll sort of get some information what's going on with that. So there's another shopping mall getting done. You're going to have more sort of Western comforts here, but you're still going to have the scenery and the freedom that we've got with living on a tropical island.
What excites you the most? And then try and put it into 5 words or 3 words or something, like a short sentence where encapsulates everything you're trying to achieve, give back and do on this parcel of land.
I can't do that in 5 words. Building's like artwork for me. It's like, this is my Mona Lisa. This is my passion. Like, I was born to do this. My veins are running through that building. It's going to be alive. It's going to be breathing. It's going to be living. That's what the Atrium is. It's going to be very special.
Very good.